start with calling the meeting to order for tonight. This is a meeting for Lyft. Today is Thursday, March 8th, 2018. Start with the roll call. Carol Brzeziak is out today. Cindy Christensen.
Here.
Jason Henderson. Here. Nicholas Millar. Here. Joseph Areno is absent. Jack Reincheck.
Don't pronounce it the way they put it.
Okay.
Here.
All right. And Kevin Seiler is present.
Their names will appear.
Okay.
When they talk.
Okay. Thank you. The next item is the. Also, I would like to welcome Pat Driscoll for joining us. My understanding, he is going to be our council liaison.
Right.
So thank you for joining us. And also we have Wendy Hefner with us. Thank you. And it looks like
City Attorney.
The City Attorney Steve Kemp has joined us. I'd also like to thank those of our citizens who have joined us also. The next item is the approval of the agenda. You have the approval of the agenda in front of us. There has been a citizen that came forward prior to the meeting, has a concern about the minutes, and would like us to move the public comment prior to the approval of the minutes of last meeting. So if there is a motion, we can entertain that and make that adjustment to the agenda.
So,
do I have a second?
Second.
Okay, we have a motion that has been moved and second to approve the agenda with the amendment that we move the public comment prior to the approval of the minutes. All in favor say aye. Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. So we are now at the point of public comment. Again, remind the public that they have 3 minutes to voice whatever concerns, opinions, comments that they have. Is there anybody who would like to come forward and provide, sorry, I'm trying to set up my clock here, comments?
I was going to say I got it.
Oh, you got it? Okay, thank you. And then if you do have comments, we ask that you give your name prior to starting your comments. Okay.
My name is Pam Chadbourne, and I live in District 1, a block and a half from here. Thank you for making this change to the agenda, and I would like you to ask you first, in the future, would you put an action item or an ID number, a resolution, ordinance, whatever it takes, to make that change in the order of items for Lyft permanent? And I'll just point out that a citizen in October voiced a concern about the way his comments have been represented in the minutes, but it occurred after the agenda vote and the approval of minutes. So, and then I wanted to talk about minutes. The city council has already done that for the city meetings. It seems like a very practical thing to do. So, but I think it has to be done officially in some way, and I'd like to recommend or ask you to please do that. Second of all, about the minutes, one comment is, and this has happened in every city meeting document that I've looked at for Council, Historic Preservation Board, and Planning Commission for the past few weeks. The package for the meeting has not been page numbered. That's an easy thing to do. It also, when there are discussions, I mean, the boards struggle with where did you, and minutes are spent on, oh, which page is it? What are we looking at? So I'd like to ask that packages for the meetings be numbered. Second of all, the dates. The draft minutes for it would be useful, I think, for the record to state that the prior meeting that had been held was October 12th. The November meeting was not held, and the December meeting was not held, and I guess the January meeting was not held. Whatever it is, I'd like to, it would be nice to have, I think, for the record, some record of the meetings that were held or weren't held in between whatever meeting had been prior. And along those same lines, in October, the members of the Lift Authority are very different than the members in the February Lift minutes, yet there is absolutely no explanation of that. So, for the record, it would be great if we could have who the members are, what their terms are, and where they came from, what's their authority for serving. City Council appointed so-and-so on this date to serve on the board. So those are my requests, and I believe that they're all very useful to the Lift members. I don't think they're obstructive. I don't think they're a burden. That's why I'm asking. I think it's a good service. Thanks very much.
Thank you.
Okay, any other public comments at this time? Okay, the public comment portion is closed at this point. Next item is then the approval of the minutes. You have the minutes in front of you to review. Is there a motion to accept the minutes as presented?
Yeah, I move to accept the minutes as presented.
Is there a second?
Second.
Any discussion?
I think it's an easy thing to do. I think actually the page number thing is not a bad idea. So,
It's not as easy as you think.
if it is a problem, then don't worry about it.
I'm
But
just
I think
saying
it's
that they all come in separately
yeah.
as separate documents,
Sure.
and then they're all put together. I'll look and see if there's a way to do it through PDF, but it's not as easy as just saying put numbers on there.
I understand. Okay.
So-
well, that's cool. Then yeah, absolutely.
I'll do what I can.
Use your best judgment. This isn't a motion or anything.
I'll do what I can.
Mr. Kemp, do you have a comment?
Well, yes, I do have a comment, because the city council has promulgated basically rules of procedure for how agendas and things are to be done for all boards and commissions, including the council. It has not given them discretion to depart from that. And now Lyft is a separate political entity, so it certainly could, but it needs to be understood that's not in line with what the council's adopted for all boards and commissions. And they've made it very clear they're not giving discretion to individual boards and commissions to depart from that. So, but if this board wants to, it's certainly, because you're a separate political subdivision, you certainly could.
Correct. Any other?
I think Wendy's going to look into it if it's something that is doable. We'll see what happens.
Is there any discussion regarding the minutes as presented? Okay, so I have a vote. All those in favor of accepting the minutes as presented, signify by saying aye.
Aye.
Aye. Any opposed? Motion carries. We will not have a financial report tonight. Next item is committee reports. Do we have a report from our attorney research committee?
Only a very minor one. Joe Areno and I met, and we're preparing our report. We're going to have a memo for you for the next meeting, but for now, all I can say is, we're making some progress and doing research, but we have nothing to report this time.
Excellent. Hey. Cindy, are you taking notes?
Yep,
Thank
I
you.
am.
I missed it at the beginning.
How
did you
I was reminded and I forgot to. So
I started doing it
Wow.
because I got
Appreciate
back.
Appreciate you stepping up and taking care
Taking
of it.
notes.
I certainly do.
Is there any unfinished business? New business, discussion of the content of the website.
Put that on there. We've kind of danced around the website content. I feel like it should be kind of a conduit of what we're working on to the citizens, and it's a little bit just thrown together. I don't know if you want to like discuss specific content or like set up a person or a group to like put a specific package of here's some recommendations, and then we talk about it next month after people have a chance to review. Does anyone feel like they've looked at the website enough, they know they want to have that discussion now, or do we want to work on that for next meeting?
Sure.
I spoke with Eric Irvin, and I had him, I thought he had already done this, but when I went back and looked at the website, I realized that he hadn't updated the board members. So we've updated the board members, they're all correct now. Their terms are correct. And I also gave him everything that you had in that packet and told him to put it on the website. So I don't know if he had gotten to that point yet, but I just wanted you to know that he has all of them in electronic form and he is working on getting them on the website.
Yeah,
So,
and like, I think it looks like it's a pretty good system of record at this point. Like, we have minutes and documents going back for at least 3 to 4 years now.
It's very
probably more just the
messy, though.
usability of it. It's just like you go to the
Messy.
landing page, and if you don't know what Lyft does, you're not going to find out through the website. There was some, we talked last year at one of the meetings about where does the contact us form go. I know some citizens that said they never got a response or something along those lines. So just like making it cleaned up and make sure that it represents our committee properly. I think
Yeah, I remember that discussion. I think part of the, is that when there was a reduction of the different areas that were under consideration for urban renewal, and then there was a departure of the manager that was part of the project. A lot of that kind of just fell apart, and we started having that discussion of, okay, who is going to answer these, who's going to deal with those, and that would fall upon the manager, the urban renewal manager, if we had. I also have some concerns, and maybe this is something that Steve can jump in on, is that there's been stuff put on there that isn't really official. There are links to editorials and things like that, and I think that kind of gets us into a questionable area if of providing that type of information. That it should just be what is strictly related to our activities. And, if citizens want to find out what other citizens are saying, it's upon them to do that. It's not our duty to have that listed there, because if we miss somebody, it's either pro or for whatever we're doing, pro or against, then we run into a problem. Oh, you missed mine, or, that kind of thing.
And I will weigh in here because I have a serious concern about that. One of the things that we try to do with governmental websites is we generally don't want those to be what we call a First Amendment forum where people have a right to submit comments. There are communications programmed to communicate to the public. And when we start putting outside news editorials and outside comments, we're now opening that up as a First Amendment forum. And basically, when government does that, we have to take all comers. If it's KKK that wants to publish something about urban renewal, we'll stop putting it on. And my advice is that we should only have authority-related items on the website. And just like with the city's website, if we would have a non-governmental link, it has to serve a governmental purpose. We would not put a link on our website to Black Lives Matter. Maybe a very good thing, but it's not a governmental purpose that we would connect to, because we don't want our websites to be First Amendment forums. So I share that concern. As your lawyer, I do not think that stuff should be there. I think you're putting it in the risk of becoming a First Amendment forum.
So I hear what you said. I hear what all of you said, but how do you get there from here?
let's look at it.
Wendy's going to tell us?
Wendy's going to go. Sorry.
just so everyone knows, we do have an agreement with the city that they will host and manage our website.
Yeah.
And they do that, as part of the agreement with us. But again, we need to help direct and guide what we need to have on there and how it should look.
If one of us, not me, if you had like,
There it is. No?
if this were a committee that you took on, could a board member have like a username and password for changing stuff?
That was the case, and they did, and that's how that some of that stuff's on there now, and it should not have been put on there. It's questionable.
I think it was basically like someone would have to learn WordPress to do it.
Yeah, I think that was
issue. And it was just like, well, if Eric's willing to do it for us and we don't overload him with requests.
Oh, understood.
I think that was the general thing we arrived at.
Yeah.
I think once we get it cleaned up and get it where we need it to be with the right information, and we figure out how we want to be communicated with, if somebody's going to manage, documents and communications that come into the site, then it's going to be very easy to manage if we just add documents to it as we're going along. But it has been dealt with now for a couple of years, so there's going to be a little bit of work to get it where we all like it to be.
Well, I know, but there's a couple of ways that you can get to it, and this is one of them. If you just type Lyft in on the city's webpage, and then just click this first one, it'll bring up kind of a overview of what Lyft does. And then at the very bottom, and maybe we need to make this a little bit bigger, is you can click on the Lyft website and it goes to the website. Or you can go to Lyft, Lyft-Littleton.
When I asked, how do you get there from here, what I meant is Nick's vision of pruning it out and doing a little bit of this cleanup. I was wondering, what's the process to actually, and thank you, by the way, though, this was useful to me. But do we nominate Nick to be a committee?
We could do that, just like we've done with the how we're going to deal with our attorney's search. That may advise us in the future. We could do the same thing where if there's 2 or 3 members that wish to be part of that, we can appoint that, and they can sit down and have that discussion and bring a proposal to the entire board, and we could approve it, and then work with the city to implement it.
Okay, it's these that you guys are talking about, right? This Columbine
Yes,
Courier,
yes,
Littleton
yeah.
Independent, all of these need to come down.
Correct.
Is that correct?
So that is the sort of, if you want to call it an emergency, that's the pressing thing. But if I understand your call correctly, you'd like to look at the whole thing holistically and see if there's anything that needs to be.
Yeah, just make sure we're communicating the message in a way that everyone.
And I think that's a totally.
Oh, it definitely is. And the contact now, if somebody goes to the contact link and fills out a form and sends it, it's out there in the cloud someplace or somewhere out there in the internet land, and it's not being addressed, and that's a problem, because we do need to address any kind of communication that we're getting from citizens.
Do you want your name to be under, we can do whatever we want with this Lyft info at littletongov.org. I can go talk to IS and tie that to a specific person, or tie it to the whole board if that's what we want to do.
I think that would be a little cumbersome.
I do too. It's just throwing it out there.
One of the things I would like to do, if we just take a step back, is kind of have maybe the board, before we get into committee, talk about what we want to have on the website. And what do we really want the website to say, and what do we, because right now it's welcome to Lyft, and then you get all of our agendas and everything for the past, I don't know how many years. And it really, welcome to Lyft should basically be what is under, I think, about us, or something like that. So, we need to just kind of have the discussion, and I guess I would get it started to say that if there's a welcome page that says welcome to Lyft, then we should basically talk about what Lyft is, what Lyft is expected to do, that type of thing. Some of the things that are the About Us maybe should move to the very beginning, you know, so that people get the idea right when they get onto the website as to what we do. And then there could be, you know, the other tabs that are kind of about our objectives, that type of thing. So, I mean, that's the way I would start, and maybe we even come up with different categories. I mean, I like Welcome to Lyft, but I think it really needs to say what Lyft is. The other thing that I think our website has is a lot of words. And so basically you're going through it, and I don't know how far you get because you've gotten overloaded with it. So maybe there's a way we can figure out, you know, I've done websites before where we use bullet points and that type of thing to kind of move people through the words and that thing. So, I mean, I don't know, that's up to this board, but, you know, I think we do need to have what Lyft is, you know, what the principles and that type of thing are.
Sure.
You know, and then obviously any potential projects that we have up there for the Columbine Square plan, I think, is up there. The updated one that people can look at. So I think that those are good things to put up there. I don't know what to tell you. The Lyft links, you know, I kind of have a problem with because they don't really add to Lyft. You know, us, it's kind of like, you know, you go to the city of Littleton and go to the CML, I think, is up there, that type of thing.
Yeah, we've got CML, the revised statutes, and then the city of Littleton.
Yeah, so, I mean, those are just my thoughts. I don't know if the board really wants to chime in and say.
I mean, Cindy, it sounds like a lot of the stuff that you're saying should be there is there. It's just kind of hard to find and hard. There hasn't really been a usability project. Maybe the best thing to do would be for a committee to come back with a recommendation. Hey, this is how we think it should be. By the way, not me. Because I'm the last guy to do usability. But you know, this is the way we think it should be done, and we all, you know, look at it and see if it makes sense to us. And that doesn't mean it has to actually be rewritten, but just sort of, because I don't think we'll be able to do it. I agree with everything that you said, but I don't think we certainly aren't going to be able to do it here.
No.
Like on a whiteboard or something.
Right.
Although there is a whiteboard. Yeah.
Wendy, does this follow, am I allowed to talk, by the way? Does this follow,
Address the chair.
Hey, sir, go ahead.
does this follow a certain protocol, basically how every board is put on the screen? Meaning
No.
everything has a welcome to History Museum?
No. Partly because Lyft is a separate
Right.
board
Right.
from the city.
Right.
They're not,
A
that's
separate
why they
political
have,
subdivision.
say again?
A separate political subdivision.
I understand.
They have their own website off of ours. And they are the only board that has that because they are a separate political division.
Would it make sense to follow the city's layout, I guess, to keep it consistent with the city?
Maybe we can look at that. I think that's part of what, if we decide to move forward with a committee to look at that, they can look at what the city's doing, so it has a similar feel and
Right.
mobility and stuff.
Exactly.
Because, you know, this doesn't, again, you know, to Cindy's point is, you know, you go to Lyft and you just start getting minutes. When I want to know what Lyft is, first of all, not what the minutes were. If I want to find the minutes, I'll go further down. You know, it's just like with the city of Littleton, you go to it, you see what the city's about. Then if you want to go to a specific area, you go to that area. It's a little bit more user-friendly.
So maybe we get rid of the About tab and put like packets and minutes or agendas and minutes or something as another tab up here so that all of this is not on the front page.
Correct.
Maybe. Who knows? I mean,
But whatever Brittany says.
Yes, looking at the website, which I reviewed prior to my application to be on the board, I think underscores one of the points Ms. Shadbourne made. We have a meeting and when we did not have a meeting. It would be almost nice when the list of minutes that it would almost be like a calendar. It says no meeting held in December of 17, held in January of 18.
It's close, though.
It does say that.
Yeah, because a bunch of the cancellations are there.
They're here.
These
They're
ones were all
canceled, but the ones that weren't even canceled are not.
They weren't scheduled. Yeah, no.
Yeah,
it's-
see, it's, because I was searching to find something that I could sink my teeth into, and then I had to go way back. And I was hoping that I got most current information.
Sure.
So I would like to see that kind of information provided.
I know Carol was an advocate for that too. I think she had started to compile a lot of that. Goal of getting it on the website at some point. I don't know how much of that was done.
I mean,
To me, like, it was
again-
more comprehensive than I remember it months ago. So.
Well, and that might be, it might have actually gotten better, but regardless, it's pretty close here. As far as I can tell, we're only missing a couple, but I can't even speak to what it was a couple months ago. I don't know. But you're not wrong, but a number of the cancellations are.
Just like to know when we had a meeting, when we didn't pass. Sure. Going forward, I think that's information that is useful if somebody is doing some information mining.
Oh, yeah.
So do we have a motion to create a committee to do this and come back with recommendations or a skeleton of what we?
Can we do a straw poll to see if anybody actually is interested in doing this? I mean, I'm just asking you as a matter of, do we have to move before we?
Yes, you should have a motion on the floor, a second, and then discuss.
Okay. I move that we create a committee to come back with a recommendation on how to reorganize the website.
We have a second.
Second.
Is there any discussion?
I've got nothing to add.
It would be great if, wouldn't mind being part of this. I can't do it by myself. I would want to do it by myself. It would be good to have a representative example of the members. Unfortunately, Carol's not here. I know Carol has expressed interest in having the website updated. So if we do move forward with this, I'd hope there'd be more than just myself on that.
I'm willing to do.
Yeah, I'm willing to help with.
Okay. Any other discussion?
So I guess you can appoint your
I can
members.
appoint them, yeah, once we've approved it, we'll have a committee.
Sure.
All right, so we have a motion to form a committee to review the website and come back with recommendations on how to make it more productive and user-friendly and such for citizens to use. All those in favor say aye.
I got a question because last time at our last meeting, we formed a committee. We had to say when they would report back to
Yep,
the board.
and
that ended up being an amendment.
yes.
So I move that the report back to the board is the same time frame as the previous committee, 60 days.
So they would have a full report at the May meeting.
That's correct.
Okay, so you have a motion to amend the initial motion. Do we have a second on that? Second. Okay. So now we have to, any discussion on the amendment? Okay, so we have to vote on the amendment first. So the amendment is that we form a committee and they'll report back in 60 days. The meeting will be held 2 months from now. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So now we go to the first motion, which is to form a committee to review the website and make recommendations to the full board on improvements that we can make. And they will do that within, report back to the full board in 60 days. All those in favor say aye. Aye. Opposed? Motion carries. So at this point, I will appoint myself, Nicholas, and Cindy as part of that. And I do leave it open that if Carol or Joseph wishes to join it, they'll be welcome to. Okay. And so the next part is the second public comment session. So we will open it up to any public comment that people who have joined us would like to have at this time. Again, when you come up, if you could state your name, that would be greatly appreciated.
My name is Linda Kaniki. I live in the 4th District. I just wanted to mention with regard to the web, they contracted it out with this company called CIG, and they had control of the website, and it wasn't under the control of Lyft. And then also I wanted to just give my opinions about Lyft and to have the Lyft board really understand the properties and what are the impacts of the property taxes and sales and use taxes by the properties that are in the urban renewal plan. And I also think that you should strive to be ready to entertain proposals from developers, and to be able to do that, I'm going to actually refer you again to the confidential financial statements that was in your packet, and then the Littleton Invest for Tomorrow development proposal, funding request requirements for proposed urban renewal projects, to take a look at these and see what you kind of expect from the developers. What kind of documentation do you want? What kind of financial information? What kind of audited financial statements? So all of that information, I think that you really have to have ready before you can entertain a proposal from a developer. So that's all I wanted to say tonight. Thank you very much.
Thank you very much.
Thank you. Is there any other public comment at this time? Close the public comment session. And we'll motion for adjournment.
So moved.
Second?
Second.
In favor?
Aye.
Aye. Opposed? Meeting is adjourned.